All right, we're back with Mike. Mike,
Let's
all
go.
right. Welcome back to another episode of Soundwaves from the Sea, CSS's Seattle Sounders show. We're now weekly again. I mean, I missed like what, a month? I don't know how long we were gone,
Yeah,
Owen. It was a
roughly.
long time. Um, I don't know, man. Last two shows, two wins. Hmm? Hmm? No. Yeah, so I don't know. I didn't know how I'd feel going into this match against Nashville. Seattle had gone winless in their mighty three attempts against Nashville since that club had come into MLS and they decided to right the ship finally in this one with a three-goal first half. As Danny Musovski, it was very weird in the stadium because we get okay, he's clearly offside, right? And then they show the replay in stadium, and he's clearly not offside.
Hmm.
So Danny Musovski has goals in consecutive games. The Moose is loose. Pedro de la Vega has a nice hit in the 30th minute, and I'm sure he was very excited about that to finally get on the scoreboard there. Um, and then some nice passing to get Paul Rothrock a goal. Makes it a 3-0 game in the first half in this span of about what, like 16 minutes or so. Seattle has a 3-0 lead over Nashville, which, to Owen's point, as mentioned before we got started, they're not really the same defensively with a key absence here. I mean, you'll still take the win. It doesn't matter. Yeah, 31,000. I believe that was their best crowd of the season in MLS play. 31,867. Seattle gets another clean sheet. So, and they bumped themselves up. I believe it was sixth in the West. I will
Uh,
double check
Eighth in
this.
the West.
Eighth. Oof, I am on bad drugs. Um, oh yeah, LAFC. That's right.
For that
Um,
botched call.
I forgot about that match. God, they had that up actually in the press box afterwards, and they just kept showing the Giroud free kick. I'm like, all right, we
Oh
get it.
my
Like he scored. That's great. Keep going. But yeah, so Seattle back-to-back wins, back-to-back clean sheets after that horrendous match in San Diego, which I would kind of want to wipe from my brain, but we can't do that. Fellas, since Mike is back, we're gonna go with Mike first. If you don't like being called Mike, you can stop me. I just kept going with that, and then we'll go to Owen. Just this match generally, because we'll go into different things like Ryan Kent's debut. And I surely thought he was going to score as soon as he came in. What do we think about this one? Whether it's how the Sounders looked, or how bad MLS commentary can be on Apple. We'll go with Michael first, and then we'll go to Owen.
I'll skip the MLS commentary because I've been pretty known on the internet already to hate everything about MLS and Apple TV. But I thought honestly those 15 minutes when the Sounders scored all three goals was the best 15 minutes I've seen them play all season. The before the goal started flying in though, it was looking a little rough. The game easily could have been 2-0 if it wasn't for Stephen Fry. But overall, I think the Sounders did a good job. They held on, kept the clean sheet. Second half was kind of the same as what it was, what we've seen for the rest of the season, but I wasn't too upset about it, to be honest.
Yeah, I mean, I just going through a little bit, thinking about what I saw. I was really we've been talking a lot about what Jesus Ferreira struggles at as playing as a lone striker, and I think we saw that when a guy like Danny Musovski can kind of take that pressure off him and take the focal point off of him, he can really thrive. He had two assists. That was really impressed, and I know we keep talking about this kid, but Obed Vargas is something special. The assist for the Pedro de la Vega goal was unbelievable. Um, I I don't know how much he's going to go for, but it's going to be a lot of money.
15 minimum, $15 million. That's all I want.
Deserves it,
So
man. He deserves it.
you're gonna get what, 15 million, whatever for Obed, and then was it 9 million from Club World Cup?
Yeah, 9 million.
So that's mm, that's a lot of money. Yeah, God, Obed Vargas. Um, so I guess with looking at the assist here, is this Jesus Ferreira's best game in a Sounders kit? I feel like that's a yes. I don't know if there's
Absolutely.
anything that
Yes,
rivals it.
yeah.
There's not a question.
Um, yeah, it was just really interesting to see this. I know it's what are we? How many matches are we in now?
Nine.
Nine.
Nine. Oh, that's funny. Nine matches in, number nine woke up. Yeah, I don't know. What did you see differently from him in this one, guys? I mean, I just keep replaying the assist to Rothrock in my head. It's just a nice ball. I don't know what clicked. Was it just seeing the game better? Was Nashville that bad? Like, what did you? I'll go Owen and then I'll go Michael, but I don't know. He looked he looked a lot different than what I've seen in iterations prior of Jesus.
Yeah, I mean, I talked about it a little bit already, but I think when he doesn't kind of have that focus on it, and when he doesn't have to be the guy, because he started kind of on the left wing here, right? He has a little bit of the freedom. We were criticizing him for dropping so deep and going so wide earlier because the Sounders then didn't have a guy in the middle to focus the ball to and to take the center back's attention. When there is a guy there, like Danny Musovsky, I think he performs really well. And I think that's what we saw this weekend. That's always been the case. We knew that coming in. He plays better as kind of a second striker or even a number 10. That's what he's done for the national team. I think this just proves that, and he played really well when he was given that chance.
I think the biggest thing was watching him in those half spaces, especially in that final third. If you watch his movement and watch his, I was trying to pay attention to like how his head was moving and where he was watching the ball was going. It's incredible to see the kind of vision that he has to everybody who was when Rothrock knew who was making runs on the left. It was just really interesting to see like Ferreira immediately clock that, and he's like, "Oh, okay, I know where I'm at. I can operate in this space here." And like you said, Owen, if he's not the focal man, he doesn't there's not as much focus on him, so people aren't going to be like swarming him when he's on the ball. And I think
Yeah,
Brian is finally starting to realize that he is not a number nine, that he needs to be operating those half spaces.
yeah. I'd be really interested to see what it looks like. I mean, it is Danny Musovsky, but if you can get a guy Will Bruin sized up there, or even if it's Jordan Morris eventually, like just to keep taking that attention away from him and put it on another guy, because he can be really really lethal. I remember the first game, Charles and I were talking about like how great he looked when he dropped deep and was kind of given the freedom to push the ball like that. Um, and I'd love to see that come back.
So this was especially after a win like this, there's obviously discussion. Um, Healthy discussion that is. Where do you play him going forward? I know at least in the Sounders graphic, it still showed them in the same 3-4-3, right? And I know Owen and I discussed the 3-4-3 last week. I think it was the same exact lineup from the Dallas match, except for Kim Key slotting in for an injured Jackson Reagan, and Kim looked pretty solid. I mean, obviously there were a few tensions defensively overall that got to Steph, and Steph was Stephen Fry, but I was happy with what I saw in that regard. Um, but yeah, where do you put Jesus going forward? How do you best maximize him? Because it seems like you both have ideas for that.
I want to let you take this one first.
I think it's tough because he's really thriving in the situation where right now
Mm.
there's a lot of guys out. Because while he is really good in those spaces, those are the spaces that Albert Rusnak loves to be in. And ultimately, you're paying that guy DP money. You can't pay him DP money to sit on the bench. But then when you take a look at Jesus Ferreira, you feel obligated to get him in this lineup. Um, and so it's a tough decision because what you really don't want to do is have both those guys trying to be in the same spot because then it gets really clogged and you don't have an outlet.
Mm.
Um, I'd be curious to see if Ferreira would slot into that left wing rotation. I know it's not the role they brought him in for, but keep him wide and kind of give him opportunities to push the ball there because I think once Albert Rusnak comes back, that's his spot. Ultimately, that central position, even though that's probably Ferreira's best position as well.
I think it's going to be tough because, I mean, we saw it. I don't know if you guys noticed, but in the second half, once we brought off Danny Musovsky, we brought on Jordan and Albert. We brought on our two DPs, but Jesus Ferreira kind of became invisible because, like you said, Albert and Jesus, they like to operate in the same spaces, usually on that left hand side. And I don't think it's gonna work very well with Jordan, Jesus, and Albert on the pitch. So I think, like you said, Ferreira is going to be for now, at least until Albert is fully healthy, a rotational piece, especially on that left hand side. But I don't think we should be playing at the 3-4-3. I think having wingers is doesn't make any sense for the way we want to play with that possession style. I think having like a 3-4-2-1 with two attacking mids, I think is gonna be the best spot that we can have both, say whether it's Albert or Jesus or Pedro de la Vega, like operating those half spaces to be able to pull the ball up. That's just me though.
Yeah, I totally agree. And I think that you just got to be careful with like kind of how you allocate that space, right? Because
Mm.
they like to have a guy like high and wide on one side. Um, just because then that's how you kind of get that space. You have to pull the full back in order to have that half space.
Mm-hmm.
But then that's a lot of space, but you want to only have one guy in that, like we were saying. So
Yeah. I actually wanted to pose a question to both of you guys.
Mm.
With Jordan being healthy, obviously he is a starter. He's a set and forget it starter, but he tends to move wide, especially whether it's on the right
absolutely,
or left, leaving that space in the middle. And I noticed that in the last like 10 minutes where there are times we had no focal point in the middle and both Jesus and Albert was kind of like left there, not sure what to do. But I don't know. Do you think Brian should ask Jordan to adjust his game? Or do you think that we just kind of play, kind of see how everything goes going forward?
I'm curious, kind of what you think we're asking from Jordan Morris here? Because are we asking him to be like the Danny Musovsky focal point up there, where he's drawing these two center backs, and that's why he has to stay in the middle, or do we really want him as kind of like an outlet for a fast break where you want him to be able to slide wide, get a ball out there, and drive in on his right foot? Like which one are they really looking
Mm.
Mm-hmm.
for either of you, honestly?
No, I mean, it's a good question. Like, I would prefer to not kind of leave space open, especially if it's the space that we're talking about, right? Mm. And I don't know, Danny Musovski's like it's a small sample size.
So
He's producing.
say
Yeah.
it, say it.
Like
Do it.
the one of my things is I like you mentioned like kind of seeing how it goes. Like with how things are going, again, two matches, sure. Two matches, two wins, like you're getting healthier, right? You've got Ryan Kent now available. He's got all his visa. I don't know if someone swore. He's got all his visa shit figured out. Um, like I feel good about the talent that you've got. It's not like we're sitting here and Pedro's gone, Jordan Morris is gone. Like we have no idea when, like it's not that situation where it was a few weeks ago. Um, I think with like everyone getting healthier and with Ryan Kent available, I'd maybe be okay seeing how things go, and letting it play out a little bit. But also like I don't, as Owen and I think talked about when we did our like preseason show, I don't want to wait if it doesn't work out for you to have to go on a run and need to like pick up the pieces later into the season, which would now be after Club World Cup when, who knows what Botafogo, Atletico, and PSG will do to you. Um, it was funny. There was a comment on the Sounders social after this game where it was a Botafogo fan who said, "Please be careful with my Botafogo." I'm like, I think you'll be okay. Like
Yeah.
Nashville SC and Botafogo, we're coughing baby hydrogen bomb. Like, let's calm down. But does it make sense what I'm saying? Like, I feel okay playing letting things play out considering the talent that seemingly is now fully available. I don't know what capacity Jordan and Albert and Pedro are. I mean, Pedro did are yes, if I remember correctly. Um, yeah. Um, but I hate the idea of playing catch up if it doesn't work. So that's kind of what I think if I have to make a definite answer, I'm fine letting it play out where it is now because it's working.
Yeah.
I mean, and I want to make it like I don't think that Danny Musovsky is like the greatest player in the world. I just think that style
He's
of
not.
play, but in terms of like this isn't working only because Danny Musovsky is
Yeah.
better than any other number
Yeah.
nine the Sounders have. It's because of the style he has and the space he occupies,
Mhm.
and that's something that we like kind of haven't seen like because Jordan does his part in kind of backing down guys and sitting there as kind of a distributor, but I don't think necessarily that that's the thing he does. Like Musovsky has been a great outlet these last two games in terms of you have fantastic midfield creators in this team, and they have a guy they can bounce off up front. And I think Jordan's instinct is more to kind of turn and go with the ball than look to lay it off, which
Mhm.
is fine, but it's why Musovski's working so well.
Yeah. That's my main thing. I was just curious because like they have such different styles of play, and
Mm.
Jordan's hold up game isn't as good as Danny's. I know he can because he's a big boy. He can hold off defenders, but it's just that's like you said, it's just not his. That's not his thing.
It's fine. He's great at other stuff, but
Yeah.
yeah. So
So I guess along those lines, I want to talk about Ryan Kent, because he was fun. I mean, he only played what was it like 11 minutes in total if we're looking at stoppage as well.
Yeah.
Well, FootMob says 6, but that's not right. Um, he looked fun, man. I mean, again, small sample size, like end of the match, Nashville's down 3, but I mean, just whether it was, how he looked, getting out and running. I think there was one chance he almost had with an assist to Jesus, and it just kind of didn't connect, right? He looked fun. So I guess where do you play him? Are you happy with him coming off the bench? You're not messing with the lineup right now. Just keep him, what do you do with Ryan Kent? Is my question here.
I think that for now, just to get him acclimated into the team, play him off the bench, let
Mhm.
Rothrock play it out. But the moment Ryan Kent is fully 100% match fit, ready to go, I think he should be the set it and forget it starter or over Paul Rothrock. I'm not saying Paul Rothrock is a bad player. He's been great, but he MLS is his ceiling. And I think
I
that
see. Yeah.
we have a player in Ryan Kent who has European experience who already saw or you already see like the vision and the way he wants to play is at a higher level than some of the players that we already have that we have on hand. So I think you want to play the most talented player you have, and then let Rothrock be the player off the bench late in games. But that's not until like maybe like Club World Cup or even after Club World Cup. Right now, let Paul Rothrock play in form and let Ryan Kent get acclimated in.
yeah, I'm curious a little bit because we haven't watched too much of Kent, but I'm curious how similar he will be to this kind of wing rotation. Because the great thing about Paul and Georgie is that they're pretty like different players in terms of you can have a guy that Paul has kind of been working on all game, and he's not that he's a slow guy, but that's just more his style to kind of take it a little bit slower, and then you can give him Georgie, and he'll just run right past him or flip it and have a guy that's been going backwards so much that he's going to go backwards like that. I'm curious which side you guys think Ryan Kent kind of slides to, and I think that'll matter a lot when you're thinking about how you're slotting him into this wing rotation.
Mm. Mm, I'd keep him on the left. Like, because if we're staying in this, staying in the lovely 3-4-3, which has its debate, right? I'm not saying this is certainly an interesting player to mention at this point, but oh well, and then that's right. Alex Roldan is coming back, and he came off the bench in this one as well. I think at the same time at Sao Paulo. Um, okay. Actually, I don't know. This is interesting because I'm like, Kalani's been fine over on the right side, fine. I don't know if you want to be fine, like with what Michael was saying. It's like when best player available, like you should have your best players on the field, ideally, right? Uh, love the guy, especially as a UW guy. Love the guy. I don't know if Kalani Kusarienzi should be hanging out there if you've got better options available, right? So I'm intrigued now. Um, I don't know. That's a tough one. I don't have a great answer for you right now.
I'll keep watching.
Yeah.
I'm excited to keep watching though. I think he's definitely going to be like at least at the very least a little bit of a different option to some of the
Mm.
guys that they've. I don't think
Mhm.
he's all speed or all finesse. From the little bit we've seen.
Well, he's not a small
Um,
guy either.
no,
Like he's not a guy that's going to be pushed around, I don't imagine. So that's kind of fun as well. Because again, not to rag like we're talking about with Paul and Georgie, not to rag on them, but they're kind of smaller. They're not. I know they. What match was it where Paul was kind of talking a little bit of shit in the corner? I think towards the end of a match. Oh God, you
was
know what
it
I'm
was it
talking about?
the
Yeah.
international one last year where he had like the two nutmegs?
Oh, was it that one? I
I
thought
want
it
to
was
say
this year. He doesn't back down. I mean, he's got a little bit of
no,
a dog in him.
absolutely
Got a
not.
So
dog in him.
but he's not, he's not as physically imposing. I'm not saying he's like boom, but Ryan Kent does give you more of a solid like figure in that regard. So I don't know. Yeah, I keep watching. It's I don't know. It feels like they're fun again. It feels like not to wave a giant we're so back flag, but like it feels a lot better than where we were at mid-March, right? Where everybody was
Yeah.
dropping and you were getting your shit pushed in results. So, did you guys have other things to say on that? Sorry, I feel like I've hijacked this.
No. You're okay.
You're
I
good.
think I'm just excited about this idea of a more diverse wing rotation. Um,
Yeah,
which
yeah.
is the same thing that we said when Georgie came kind of into this situation. Like, hey, he's different to Paul, and I think Kent is different to both of them, which is good. Absolutely, you can just mess with fullbacks. It's always what you want to do.
So does that this and I know it'll create some, I'm sure, discussion, but this forces Brian to do his job more, I'm assuming, because you have to figure out the best ways. You got to put the pieces into the right positions, right, to get the most out of them. When you like just looking at this match and realizing that these players aren't fully healthy, you've got guys like Albert Resnack, Jordan Morris, Alex Roland, João Paulo, and Ryan Kent coming off the bench. Those guys aren't ideally all coming off the bench again. Um, oh, that's right. I keep forgetting about poor Jackson. I'm not worrying about the defense. Like, yeah, I it'll be really interesting to see what this lineup will look like when they get to Colorado. If they, because someone did ask him post match, I didn't recognize the voice. Um, if he keeps things rolling going into the Rapids match in Colorado next week, and like Brian, he's not going to tell you that.
No.
Of course, he wouldn't tell you that. Um, but I'd be interested to see. I mean, like a 1-0 Dallas match, and he kept it largely the same outside of Kim slotting into the center. Um, I don't know. It'll be fun though. It'll be a lot of fun.
Yeah,
Um,
I think these next few ones are opportunities, right? You got Colorado, which is
Colorado.
higher in the Supporter Shield, but last five are loss, win, draw. So obviously a team you can attack, and then you got two teams that you've seen already, and that are not doing great this season: St. Louis and Houston. I think
Then
that
LAFC after that.
the
Yeah.
next like four after that are scary, but these three matches are a big opportunity to I think capitalize on some momentum. Um, and you're going to be looking for them to do that. Colorado's tough because you're away and you're up there. Uh, Dick Sporting Goods up in the air, but
Hmm.
these next after I will be excited to see. I think it's a decent challenge, and then a couple should win.
Yeah, I was looking at this last night, just after the match. I was like, all right, where do we go from here now? Right. And it's just, yeah, like you said, some opportunities to capitalize. I didn't realize St. Louis had kind of like taken a gigantic nap and
Yeah,
lost four of the last five, and then they get to play LAFC next. So that'll be fun for them. Poor St. Louis. Um, you've got that. And then yeah, as Owen mentioned, you've got this nice little interesting string of matches where you've got LAFC, you go down to play Portland, you've got Dallas, and then you get to try and rectify whatever the hell happened in San Diego when San Diego comes up here. Uh, and even those like to be get so the month of June is kind of like hell.
Good
Um,
God.
because you play Minnesota, who's third in the West. You play lovely Vancouver up in I don't know why I said El Canada. In Canada. Um, so you play the number currently. This could change by the time we get to my birthday month. Who's number one in the West? Then it's Botafogo, Atletico, uh, PSG at noon for whatever reason. You
I
get
think
to the
that's a
Club
winnable
World
one.
Cup. Okay. Yeah, the PSG will not be able to handle Seattle weather.
Hey! I don't think they'd ever heard of Georgia Manuga.
Jesus Christ. Get ready to learn Danny Leva, buddy. You're
Who is
going to
Danny
hell.
Musovsky, bro?
The
30
moose is
million bid
loose.
incoming.
There you go.
Does Paris have moose? Meese? Um uh and even like I kind of forgot that like Club World Cup is obviously the priority this season. Well, is the big draw. When you've got Leagues Cup and you get to see Cruz Azul at the end of July, what a season. I kind of just remembered all this because everything seemed like a giant kick in the nuts in mid-March, and it was like, wow, I'm not feeling so rave green anymore. I'm feeling like puke green. Yeah, no, Jesus, it is plenty of opportunity for you to prove yourself and challenge yourself in the next, I think, stretch of 8 games before the Club World Cup with, as mentioned, some clubs that you probably should take advantage of how they're looking. Oh God, St. Louis is a 7:30 match here. I yeah, I got a bedtime, bro. Like, come on. Um, and then some really, really big challenges for, ideally when you're fully go and maybe figure some things out, figure out some questions that we've asked on this show. Like, what is the starting 11 going to look like against LAFC? That'll be fun, right? So, oh boy, wow, just feels nice to win a couple. Goodness. Owen, you look like you have something. Do you have something?
Oh, I'm all good. No stress.
Oh, all right. Yeah, is there anything that, whether it's from this match or with the current state of the club, that we're curious? I feel good right now, honestly, about where they're at. Just the problem is I have this optimism in me, despite the teams that play in this city. Like, they beat me down so constantly. Um, but just, seeing the fun that this team can have. And someone did ask Brian this post match. He was like, hey, how important is it not only obviously to win at home, but to entertain at home? Because, there's so much that you're trying to do here. There was the conversation about how you'd been below 30,000 in attendance, right? It's like, how do we fix that? Because that was a constant. You had people up in the 300 level, right? The the first match on us thing, right? There's things that the club is doing to get people here, right? And keep people invested. And there's the talk about uh spending money, right? And so I do think entertainment is something that they want to do. Obviously, winning is the top priority, but entertaining while doing so is key. And they did that in this match. So I don't know. I think it's good, especially for Pedro. Like, it's one match, it's one goal, but just to get that like off your back, get going, seeing his joy, like, I don't know, things are good. I think things are good right now. Yeah. Is there anything as I throw out this sort of open last call about this club before I look at Colorado here?
I
I
think I'm
did
just
want.
still cautiously optimistic.
There you go.
That's all I got.
Yeah, I'm in the same boat, honestly. Things are looking up. There's still a lot to improve on, but we're getting there. Baby steps.
Baby steps. Is that our like mantra of this episode?
Baby steps. Word of the
Yeah,
day. Phrase of the
baby
day.
steps.
Oh God. So Colorado's interesting. I really thought that they had that match against Houston, and then 90 plus six, and it's all gone. Um, they're interesting. I mean, their losses are to good teams. Like, got a loss in here to Portland. They lost to Vancouver. They did beat San Diego. Um, I don't know. Ooh, I mean, like you do own the historic uh, overall head to head, but obviously Colorado and that lovely Dick's Sporting Goods Stadium is not necessarily kind. What do we think about Colorado heading into next Saturday?
I think, it's gonna have to look hopefully a lot like this past weekend in that when you go play up there, you want to push it early and you want to look to get, first goals in the first 30 minutes. Because as it goes on, you get more and more tired, and that's where Colorado's advantage comes from.
Yeah.
Um, and they've got good guys. I like Darren Yaffe, um, the young striker. And I think that as soon as you get tired and you start letting guys running behind you, then that's where it gets dangerous. So
Mm-hmm.
if they can really push and get a couple first half goals here, because I don't think Colorado is that much better than the Sounders. I think that they will concede goals, and I think that's a possibility. It's not going to be one of those games that's just, it's going to be 1-0 one way or the other. And so I think really pushing for first half, first third of the game goals is going to be important.
I'm interested in seeing how Atencio is going to play because he's been a starter for them since he came. And I have a friend who's actually season ticket for the Rapids, and he said Josh Tensio stands out for him every single time he sees him on the ball.
Oh,
That warmed my little heart. I was like, oh, hi, Josh Tensio. But I think it's going to be interesting because Colorado will see possession. They don't need the ball. They don't care about having the ball. So I think it'll be like you said, it'll be up to the Sounders to attack early and get in right away before you really let Colorado settle in the game.
So in that regard, and go back to what Owen said, with your guys getting tired, right? Does that heighten the importance of your bench players here and seeing what maybe I have no idea what the hell Brian is going to cook up for his starting 11 next match, and I'm sure Michael's first 11 thoughts will be interesting. Um, that just heightens your bench importance, right? Like, I mean, so Colorado. I don't know if I'd ever want to visit there. Anyway, yeah, Josh Atencio. I felt really bad when we did the episode when Josh got traded, and then a member of the Atencio family they commented on the wrong segment. It was
No.
like because we did one about the trade because it happened like that morning. I was like, oh hey, Owen, like we have to do this.
yeah.
And they're like, Josh is gonna succeed. He just needs opportunity. I was like, yeah. I was like, I hope it didn't seem like we said it. I think we only said good things about Josh Atencio. So I was like, oh.
We said they were going to miss him in August, so they fixed that with
Yeah.
Kim Ki-hee. I think it's worth saying
Tim
now. I mean,
Key.
we can revisit later, but he was good, and I
We can
think
come
that's
back to it.
exactly what you wanted to kind of see from him, like a veteran presence back there.
Yeah.
Um,
Hey,
don't think he got
sometimes
drilled past too many times,
not that I remember
but
at least.
maybe he's playing a slower
Um,
guy in Sam Surge, but
yeah. I don't know. I am happy for Josh though.
oh,
I
he had a
mean,
shot. I love header.
sometimes you just need a different opportunity. It's fine.
Absolutely.
So, all right. Well, goodness. I guess until we see you next week and see what the hell happens in Colorado, what the starting 11 looks like, how many goals Ryan Kent's, I mean, how many goals Danny Musovsky scores?
Two.
The Moose.
James Husky
Two.
brace.
If if Danny Musovsky scores 2 goals next week, I will buy you a Danny Musovsky jersey. All
Yes.
right. So if that happens, I will break out the wallet. Uh, Jesus Christ. I hate just imagining going into Lumen Field. Hello. I need to get Musovsky put on this. Are
Coming
you
to the next
sure?
match in the third, like, where's my shirt?
Where's my shirt? What's that Lumen Field bag you have? Shut up. Shut up. All right. Well, like I made sure to actually do it this time. I think the first episode I forgot to do it, but I made sure to put in Michael's stuff where you can find Michael's work. And Owen, as Owen said, lovely at Climate Pledge Arena, support student journalism. Um,
Do it.
I saw you standing on that court. Yeah. Until we see you next week, take care of yourselves, be well, do whatever you can to make today a great day.
Hey, Charles.
Hey, Jen.
Hey. So where are you going to watch all of the Sounder away games this year?
Away games for the Sounders. Well, since Rough and Tumble is the home of Circling Seattle Sports, I was thinking of coming here if that's okay with you.
I think that's a great idea. Go Sounders. Hope we see you all here.